This is Ellen the Marvelous, the movie gangster. I just watched Superman movie, and at first I was thinking for something else. After everything I learned and studied about superheroes, not only because I'm a fan of Batman. To be honest, my very first favorite superhero in my childhood days was Superman. The man who could fly, fly, fly. The boy who could lift up a truck only by using his hands, who came from stars. He was incredible. In this movie, there are too many CGI and visual effect scenes, amazing scenes, lots of conflicted battles and actions with unreal powers and lots of colorful creatures all around. The main goal of creating these superheroes is, of course, rebuilding our old, ancient legends, myths, and heroes into new shape of form and characters like superheroes who are so powerful with no lacks and flaws, and as they become more powerful than before, they are still incorruptible, as Joker says, or in the Superman case, unbreakable. A superhero must be a pattern or archetype for other people to see and learn how to become one. Because as it is, people see, people does. But James Gunn has this emphasis on Superman as an alien. And from the other side, this is Superman claims that he is like the other human beings, he's a human, he has his own struggles, every day he wakes up and he's trying to do something and all of that. How it's possible for Superman being an alien and at the same time a human? We all know about his origins. And we know he has came from a planet named Krypton to the Earth. He is an alien, but how it's possible that he's still a human? In this review, I'm going to discuss on that. Tap and like the video. Share it to your friends and communities and whomever is interested in superheroes and stuff. Subscribe to my channel to support me and turn the notification bell. Be the first one watching. Now let's fly to the Krypton and find why Superman is an alien and at the same time a human.
Superman! Hey buddy, eyes up here.
Everyone knows Superman is an alien. It's the first line of his biography. The Big Bang of the most famous origin story in modern mythology. But what if I told you he had to be an alien? Not because of some grand cosmic drama, but because we as humans are fundamentally, psychologically terrified of one of our own holding that much power. This isn't just a story about a hero from another planet. It's a story about the limits of our own imagination. A story about a fear so deep we had to invent a god from the stars to protect us from ourselves.
Alien! That is where you've always been wrong about me, Lex. I'm as human as anyone. I love, I get scared, I wake up every morning and despite not knowing what to do, I put one foot in front of the other and I try to make the best choices I can. I screw up all the time, but that is being human. And that's my greatest strength. And someday, I hope, for the sake of the world, you understand that it's yours too.
The tale of Kal-El, the last son of a dying world sent to Earth to become its greatest champion, is a story we all know. It's been told and retold for over 80 years, a modern myth baked into the fabric of our culture. We just accept it. He's from Krypton. That's the deal. But today, we're going to question that. We are going to look past the narrative convenience and the sci-fi window dressing to ask a much more vital question. Why couldn't the symbol of virtue, the godlike being, just be a human? Why did his creators, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, have to reach into space to explain his existence? The answer, as we're about to see, has less to do with the fiction of a distant planet and everything to do with the non-fiction human psychology. We're going on a journey through ancient myths, American history, and the anxieties that whispers from the pages of our favorite stories. We're going to make the case that Superman's alien heritage is a psychological safeguard. Think of it like an emotional circuit breaker designed to flip off our deepest anxieties before they can overload by the system. It's a brilliant, necessary invention to make his powers something we could accept. He's the ultimate outsider, not because the story needed that, but because our own fear demanded it.
A hero. Not the hero we deserved, but the hero we needed.
To understand the fear, you have to understand the framework. No story, especially one about a man who can fly, just appears out of nowhere. When Siegel and Shuster were dreaming of Superman in 1930s, they were tapping into narrative traditions thousands of years old. The most powerful parallel, one that scholars have pointed to for decades, is the story of Moses. Think about it. A child born to a doomed people is placed in a vessel, a basket of reeds, a rocket ship, and sent away to escape certain destruction. He's found and raised by strangers in a foreign land only to grow up and become the survivor of his adopted home. That's not a coincidence. It's a mythic archetype, a story structure that resonates deep in our bones. By framing Superman's arrival in this legendary context, his creators made the impossible feel destined. This mythic echo was more than just a clever writing trick. It was a necessary comfort for the time. In the late 1930s, the world was trapped in the grip of the Great Depression and staring down the barrel of a Second World War. Despair was a part of daily life. The world couldn't just want a hero, it needed one, a symbol of incorruptible good. But where could a hero like that come from? From the ranks of a struggling, flawed humanity? Maybe that was too much to believe, and this is where the second layer of his origin becomes so brilliant. The immigrant story. Siegel and Shuster were the sons of a Jewish immigrant. They knew exactly what it felt like to be an outsider, to live in two worlds at once. At its heart, Superman's journey is one of the greatest immigrant tales ever told. He is a refugee from a home that no longer exists, sent to a new world for a better life. He is welcomed, but he's always different. The narrative was crucial. It made his otherness relatable. In the great melting pot of America, an outsider arriving to embody the nation's highest ideals was a powerful and aspirational story. The word alien, so often used to inspire suspicion of immigrants, was flipped on its head. Superman is a literal alien, but he is the ultimate protector, not a threat. So the stage is set. We have a mythic blueprint, the survivor child, and a deeply resonant cultural analogy, the immigrant. Together, they make his impossible power easier to swallow. But these are just the outer walls, the story beats that hide a much deeper, more primal reason for his birth among stars. They are the beautiful lies we tell ourselves to avoid a terrifying truth. And this leads us to the heart of it all. Why couldn't Superman just be a human? Why not a mutant, the next phase of evolution, or the result of a lab accident? The superhero genre is full of those stories. Captain America is a product of science. The Fantastic Four were zapped by cosmic rays. Spider-Man was bitten by a radioactive spider. These heroes are human, just transformed. So why Superman is different? The answer is the sheer scale of his power. This isn't just a guy who can lift a car. This is a being who can move planets, turn back time, and fly through the heart of a star. His power isn't super, it's divine. And that's where our human brain hits the wall. A hard one. Throughout history, we've treated ultimate power like lightning, a force too dangerous to keep close. So, we invented lightning rods. We built gods, spirits, and celestial forces to safely channel that terrifying, omnipotent energy away from our species and into the heavens. We can worship a god in the sky, but the idea of a god walking among us, born from us, is profoundly unnerving. If a human could born with Superman powers, it would shatter our world. It's like finding out that the human race is a lottery, and one person just won a prize that makes them a god. Suddenly, our own ticket doesn't just feel worthless, it feels like an entirely different game. Anxiety is unbearable. If one of us can become a god, what does that make the rest of us? Even more terrifying is the question of control. Could we ever trust a human with all our flaws, our greed, our capacity for cruelty, with the power to unmake the world? The thought alone conjures images of tyranny. Modern superhero stories are now obsessed with this fear. Characters like Homelander from The Boys or the movie Brightburn are direct explorations of the evil Superman trope, and they're popular for no reason. They tap into that primal fear of the human god. Making Superman an alien is the perfect psychological escape hatch, like a pressure release valve on a machine about to explode. It vents all of that terrifying anxiety before it can build. His powers aren't some unlocked human potential that would force a species-wide identity crisis. No, they're just biology, a natural result of his Kryptonian cells reacting to a yellow sun. His power isn't a judgment on our weakness or a terrifying glimpse of what one of us could become. It's an external force. His godhood is safely contained in his otherness. Like a violet chemical stored in a perfectly engineered, non-reactive vial. We can admire him, look up to him, and be saved by him, all without having our own humanity threatened. He is the protector, but he is separate, and in that separation, we find our comfort.
He's a silent guardian, a watchful protector.
The need to keep Superman separate and safe didn't just shape his creation. It has guided his story for decades. If you track the evolution of his origin, you see a clear trend. The more powerful he got, the more Kryptonian he became. In his 1938 debut in Action Comics, his origin is just a single page. He's from an unnamed doomed planet and his powers are compared to the strength of an ant. The focus wasn't on his alienness, but on his role as a champion of the oppressed. He was an outsider, sure, but he was our outsider. Then came the Silver Age in the 50s and 60s. This is when Superman's power exploded into the god tier levels we know today. And what happened to his backstory? It's exploded too. Kryptonian was no longer just some unnamed planet. It was a fully realized civilization with a rich history, a unique culture, and that iconic crystal aesthetic. This is when the S on his chest was retconned from just meaning Superman to being the Kryptonian symbol for the House of El, his family crest. His costume was no longer a circus strongman's outfit. It was woven from the blankets he was wrapped in as a baby, a direct link to his alien home. Every new detail about Krypton acted like another warning label being applied to him. The family crest, the crystalline technology, each one is a reminder. Warning, warning, contents are not human. Warning. Why the change? Because as his powers grew more absolute, the psychological need to reinforce the wall between him and us grew stronger. His morality, his strength, his very identity are all anchored to his last notable and distinctly non-human world. By making him more alien, the writers actually made him feel safer and more trustworthy. His power isn't tied to the messy, complicated world of humanity. It's an inheritance from a dead, idealized civilization. He is the perpetual guest, the benevolent guardian whose otherness guarantees his objectivity. He's like an impartial referee in the game of human history. We trust his calls because he's not playing for either side. His origins are in a different league altogether. Now, you could fairly point to the rest of the superhero world and say, hold on, what about all the other powerful human heroes? It's a valid point, but the key difference again comes down to the nature and scale of their power. Take Batman, his power comes from wealth, tech, and pushing human potential to its absolute breaking point. He's inspiring because he's a man, but he's just a man, he can be broken. What about Captain America? He's the peak of human potential, but only because of a super soldier serum. He's a product of our science, an enchantment, not a natural evolutionary jump. His power has a ceiling. Even a hero like Spider-Man, with all his strength, is still defined by his human vulnerability. He struggles with rent, with relationships, with guilt. His powers don't lift him above the human condition. They slam him right into the middle of it. Superman is another level entirely. His power is functionally limitless. Think of it this way. Most heroes, even powerful ones, are like high-performance engines with a limited gas tank. Superman is like a locomotive hooked directly into the electrical grid. The power doesn't run out. It's not about being the strongest human. It's about being as strong as the story needs him to be. That's the critical difference. The powers of other heroes exist to test their humanity. Superman's alien origin exists to protect ours. It's also worth noting that in recent years, writers have started to pick this very idea apart. Modern comics and films have explored alternate origins. Stories like Superman Red Son imagine him landing in the Soviet Union, asking if his values are inherent or learned. These reinterpretations are fascinating because they show our culture is finally getting comfortable with these complex ideas about power. They work because they subvert the psychological safety net the original story built. So we come back to the beginning, Superman is an alien. But hopefully we now see that this isn't just a simple sci-fi detail. It's a profound statement about us, the audience he was created for. He is an alien because his creators, the sons of immigrants, poured their own experiences of hope and otherness into him. He is an alien because the story of a savior sent from a dying home is a myth as old as civilization itself. But most of all, he is an alien because we, humanity, needed him to be. His origin story is less a history of the planet Krypton and more a psychological portrait of Earth. It's a monument to our highest ideals, our deepest hopes, and our most profound fears about who we are. Making Superman a visitor from another world wasn't an act of boundless imagination. It was a concession to its limits. It's a narrative choice that reassures us that this kind of power, this godlike godness, must come from the stars. The most alien thing about Superman isn't his power. It's the comforting distance his story puts between his greatness and our own fragile humanity. This is the lightning rod that directs the impossible power away from our house and safety into the sky. This is Ellen the Marvelous, the movie gang star, and I hope you enjoyed this look into the stories we tell ourselves. Please hit the thumbs up and like the video if you liked my review, and share the link to your friends and community. Subscribe to my channel to support me, and as all of my reviews, videos and breakdowns are connected to each other somehow, don't forget to push the notification bell to be informed of all of my reviews, breakdowns and videos as I uploaded them, and be the first one watching. In my next reviews, I will discuss more on superheroes and their universe to show you how we can redefine our old legends, myths and heroes again as a superhero in the new world as new modern myths like Superman. Thank you for watching. For now, love and light in peace.
Your choices, your actions, that's what makes you who you are.